Crystal with Crystal Clear College Planning. I wanted to discuss the value of a liberal arts education because I tend to hear some things from families where they have concerns or the student has a misperception about what a liberal arts college is. So when you think about a liberal arts education, oftentimes it can be a research-based institution that puts teaching first, right? So the professors are there to educate the students, and then they're using research as an opportunity to explore and work with students and faculty together in these different projects and capacities for experiential hands-on learning. So the students that do the best are often the ones who want to be involved, who want to talk to their professors, who don't want large lecture size where they are just that number, and get to have more of a discussion-based conversation, really, in a classroom environment where their voices get to be heard. And I will say that those students that are often shy walking into those smaller schools are going to be the ones that are going to have the most growth and opportunity because they're going to be forced into like stepping out of their mold and how they've typically been. And so those kids will take on leadership. They will be the ones that are going to reach out to those professors and make those connections and have more of that one-on-one because that's just the environment and culture of the institution. And I've been to some really fabulous colleges where just recently I was at the College of Worcester, and it's so fabulous to see like how even admissions knows their student body so well. And so like it was one student didn't want to toot their horn about like the things that they were up to, and the admissions person was like, and and they were like, oh, and this is the other thing that I should like this. So what are you doing next week, or what are you starting? And they're like, oh, well, I'm doing this really fabulous internship at this company about this thing, and that happened because I talked to this professor and I was doing this, and or they really loved my leadership skills, right? Like those people are actually getting to know you in a capacity that is super helpful when it comes to job placement and internships and those kinds of possibilities. But I think where the skepticism often comes in with families is thinking that there isn't really like enough like tech skills or like other things that are going on because they hear the word liberal arts and they just don't know necessarily what that means. And often it's where you're learning the soft skills, you're learning the things that you need to go off into any job, which is communication, right? And leadership and the things that they can teach tech and like how to do the job. And you're not necessarily learning that within the scope of college. You're learning how to adult, you're learning how to life, right? And so career outcomes at these kinds of institutions are really strong. Like a lot of these schools, we're talking about law school, med school, like, graduate level program placement rates are super high, and that these are students that are going off to further higher education. But also that you are just learning yet again, like how to be adaptable, how to problem solve, how to collaborate with other people, because that's the kind of environment that this is fostering with those faculty relationships where you're getting to have a mentor and really get that support. And I think getting to have the leadership and access to research and other opportunities as early as a freshman really can set you up for success, right? Because now you're getting 4 years of that kind of experience on that kind of campus. But 100% visiting these campuses to see if they vibe with you is super vital, right? Like you may not really like the kinds of students on a certain campus, or like the kinds of like the culture and the types of people that they're trying to get is different on each campus. And if you can't see yourself in that, then that doesn't work, right? Like look for the other schools where that is the case. But in student life, this is where, personal development is prioritized at these kinds of schools and that kind of growth. But I will say the other thing that I tend to hear from students is they'll be like, Crystal, I just don't want to be on a campus that's as small as my high school. I don't want another, like in their minds, it's just another repeat of the high school experience if we're on a small campus. And I thought it was said in a really fabulous way at conference was, well, how many buildings does it compose your high school, like maybe 3 or 4, maybe if you have a bigger high school, you might have 5. Well, guess what? On a and you're getting shuttled, right? Like everybody's going from one class to the next, right? Like you're just part of the system in regards to that. And so that's kind of what they have in their mind is like this small campus with all of the same kids doing the same thing, going from class to class, not realizing that just because it's a smaller campus, that the environment and culture of what you're in is completely different, right? Like you could be on a campus of 1,200 students that is 100 acres and 25 or 30 buildings spread far apart, right? And everybody's doing their own thing at their own time. It's not the same, right? You're in a community, you're not in that kind of herd and crowd of high schoolers going from one class to the other. So I think that it's good to kind of, you know, figure out what our kind of misconception of the process is, or like why maybe we're judgy about a certain type of school, and realize where the advantages can come from those kinds of institutions in learning how to learn and learning how to do that other work that no matter, and I call it AI proofing yourself in all reality, right? Like you can, the personal and the kind of communication and that piece of it, AI can't replace. So this opportunity for you to be able to learn those skills that are going to be transferable no matter where you go and what industry you go can be super impactful this day and age, and realizing that growth opportunity. I think that those kinds of institutions that maybe get overlooked, and I will say that often the benefit as well of those kinds of schools is you also have scholarship opportunities at those institutions that you didn't know that even existed, especially for a strong academic student who wants to thrive and be a part of that community. Those schools can be super affordable as well. So just another thing to take into consideration, and a reason to start looking at some of those small liberal arts colleges as an option.